Why Humans Avoid War, Part 6. Written by Space Paladin 15. Read by Daniel Million.
Sometimes I wondered why it needed us. Machines fared much better at manual labor anyways. My best guess was there was a limit to how many tasks it could concentrate on at once. Yet again, I found myself hating the master, loathing my existence. A fog of exhaustion pressed down on me as always. It had been days since I last slept. A part of me wanted to curl up onto the ground and let it all fade to black. To have peace at last. My breath came in ragged gasps, and sweat beaded on my forehead. The insulation of the vac suit kept the frigid cold of the ice planet out, but it kept my own heat expenditures in as well. I glanced over at my son, Kel, who was helping me push a tub of iron ore toward the mining tunnel's lift. I could fight through the pain and the weariness for him. The poor boy born into an unforgiving world, to know nothing but servitude. He needed his father around, if only to feel a touch of love and warmth. A strange sense of déjà vu gripped my mind a moment before it happened. Without warning, the ground shook beneath my feet, and stalactites started to rain from above. It must have been some sort of tectonic activity. Most planets did not experience the phenomenon, but we knew for the ones that did, it could wreak havoc on artificial structures. We had to leave the mine now, before we were buried alive. A scream echoed from further down the tunnel, pleading for help. I recognized the voice of Kel's girlfriend, her voice laced with pain. My son turned in the direction of her call, and I could picture the worry creasing his face through the opaque helmet. "Dad, I'll be right back. You go on." Kel dashed off before I could make an attempt to stop him, terror coursing through my veins. "Kel? Kel!" I distantly felt a hand grip my shoulder, and the mind dissolved into darkness. My eyes blinked open, back on the strange ship. The pale creature who called himself Rykov was standing over me. His expression seemed concerned. I rubbed the sore spot behind my ear where they had injected me with a language implant. The ridges of a thin scar pressed against my fingertips. It served as confirmation that the events of the past day were real, and not some fevered dream. "Are you okay?" Rykov asked. "You were talking in your sleep. You sounded upset." I sighed, images of my son still flitting through my mind. "I'm fine. It was just a bad dream." He nodded, pausing for a moment. "Who's Kel?" "Kel..." I closed my eyes, trying not to cry. "He's my son. He's dead." "I'm sorry. I know what that's like." He grimaced as though in pain. "It's the worst thing a parent can ever go through." "You lost a child?" "Yes. My youngest daughter, Alina. She was only 3 when the cancer took her. It's an awful disease that turns your own body against you. She fought so hard, through so much pain. We did everything we could, but none of the treatments did a damn thing. I know she would have had so much to offer the world if only she had been given the chance." "I'm sorry, Rykov. So young." A tear trickled down my cheek. Kel was my only son. There was an earthquake, and our minds were collapsing. He ran back in to save his girlfriend. Maybe if I'd gone with him, it would have played out differently, but I fled like a coward. He never made it out. What kind of father am I? His frown deepened. "You can't blame yourself, Bim. I've fallen into that trap myself. It's not your fault. Sometimes, there's just nothing you can do." I heard a jingling sound, and felt his hand lock firmly around my left wrist. I watched as he inserted a pin into the manacle, and with a click, the band came unclasped. The skin where the restraint had been was chafed. A dark violet hue lingered in its place. Rykov freed my right arm as well, then took a few weary steps back. His eyes didn't leave me for a moment. I also noticed his hand hovering above his hip where he appeared to have a gun tucked away. Did he think I was going to lunge at him like some kind of wild animal? Our interactions must not have eased all of his suspicions. I stretched with slow, deliberate motions, then rose to my feet. It was unclear why I had been unbound, but there had to be something that they wanted of me. Rykov stared for a few moments longer, then relaxed his posture slightly. "Follow me." It was a short walk to our destination, a hangar bay lined with sleek cruisers. A few workers were inspecting the conditions of the craft and performing repairs, but most of the personnel milled about without assignment. Their sounds of chatter and laughter buzzed in the air. The cheery atmosphere was alien to me. My people hadn't possessed such spirit in decades. The crew members hushed up as they noticed our entry, and all eyes turned towards me. A flurry of whispers rippled across the room. I ducked my head, anxiety bubbling in my chest. It was likely that some of them harbored negative feelings towards my species, so I doubted how much my presence was welcome here.
"All right, I want all of you to listen in," Rykov shouted. "I'm about to make a call to General Kylon, and we'll be going over the details of the mission."
He removed a holopad from his pocket and thumbed through a few screens. I watched over his shoulder as the three-eyed being from my first interrogation appeared.
"Hello, Commander," the General said. "The stealth ship should have arrived as you requested."
Rykov gestured behind him.
"Yes, we have them right here, thank you. I'm not sure how you convinced the speaker." "Years of practice."
The words were punctuated with smug satisfaction.
"She isn't wrong that you were spying on us, though. Care to explain that one?"
The commander shifted awkwardly.
"We, sort of spy on everyone. The Federation has never been particularly forthcoming with us. Anyhow, did you get the plan I sent over?" "Yes, and I only have one question."
General Kylon sighed, an exasperated look on his face.
"Are all of your ideas this insane?"
"What? I don't see the issue with it. Are you saying you have something better in mind?"
"Well, no.
It's drawn up based on the intelligence BM gave us. We have a rough layout of their planet now. There's 12 main settlements, and the rest of the populace is deployed off-world. We're going to evacuate the largest one today. Our fighters will engage the AI forces in orbit and keep it distracted while the stealth ships sneak down to rescue the people. That makes sense, yes?"
"It does. But that wasn't the entire plan, Commander. You left out a few things, like letting BM fly a stealth ship, the impossible time constraints. Oh yeah, and the part about the antimatter bombs."
My eyes widened as I realized what General Kylon had said. Their strategy involved me as a pilot? After years of conscription, the last thing I wanted was to dive right back into the war. Rykov shrugged. There are mechanical sentries posted all over the city, surveilling the people. Humans walking around would be noticed, but BM won't stand out. If we just immediately knock out the sentries and try to evacuate the civilians, they might see us as a threat and fight. We need BM to convince them to come with us.
"And you really think you can complete this all in 40 minutes?
The AI will kill people if it suspects it's losing, and you and I saw it doesn't allow the possibility of capture. So destroying all of its forces and stockpiles is off the table. It's more about buying time. We'll give BM 20 minutes on the ground, then we'll take out the sentries. We have about another 20 minutes before the security drones arrive, and it has to be done by then."
"Okay, well how about
the antimatter bombs? The AI can't realize the people escaped. If we turn the entire city to ash, hopefully it'll think they're all dead."
"There is so much that could go wrong with this. Everything has to be perfect."
The general hesitated.
"You'll have my support, Commander, but don't make me regret it. I'll speak with you after the mission."
I cast a blank stare at the floor as the call was terminated. My name was mentioned in their plans far too much for my liking. I wanted no part in the risk, the danger of it all. Could I really convince an entire settlement to leave with alien soldiers? Within their time frame, anyways. Rykov glanced at me, smiling confidently.
"Well, you heard all of that, BM. What do you say? Are you ready to save the day?"
1,000 reasons not to agree raced through my mind. There might be consequences for turning him down, but I knew I was no hero. They could toss me into a cell and throw away the key for all I cared. It was preferable to going home. All I had to do was utter an adamant refusal. But instead, the words that slipped out of my mouth were, "Count me in."
Why Humans Avoid War, Part 6. Written by Space Paladin 15. Read by Daniel Million.